Okay, we are in Module 1, first page, basically. It's page 7. And the way this video is going to work is you really should read the questions and try the page all on your own, and then you should watch the video when you're ready to check your answers. However, if you're stuck, you're welcome to watch for some hints. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to the essential question: how do you identify an integer and its opposite? And it's an explore activity one, which really implies that you're expected to try this on your own. But I'll read it with you. Positive and negative numbers. Positive numbers are numbers greater than 0. Positive numbers can be written with or without a plus sign. For example, 3 is the same as positive 3. Negative numbers are numbers that are less than 0. Negative numbers must always be written with a negative sign. So if you look at the number line here, you'll see 0 is right in the middle. Everything to the right of it is a positive sign, and they chose not to use the plus sign because you don't need to. But numbers on the left of 0 are required to have the negative sign. So we're going to go ahead and put this into practice here. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about elevation. The elevation of a location describes its height above or below sea level, which has elevation 0. Elevations below sea level are represented by negative numbers, and elevations above sea level are represented by positive numbers. Question A. The table shows the elevations of several locations in a state park. Graph the locations on the number line according to their elevations. And so, graphing them means to put them on the number line and to label them as well. So what that means is Little Butte is point A. That's an elevation of 5. And since there's no sign there, that means positive. So I'm going to go to positive 5. I'm going to put a dot, and I'm going to label that as A. If you're ready, you should hit pause and try the rest of these and then come back and check your answers. Cradle Creek, B, is at negative 5. So I'm going to go to negative 5 here. And I'm going to put a B. Dinosaur Valley, C, is at negative 9. Mesa Ridge, D, is at positive 8. And Juniper Trail, E, is at negative 3. Your number line should look like mine. If you're not labeling, you really need to. Question B says, what point in the number line represents sea level? Some kids think that your only choices are A, B, C, D, and E. But really, this is not asking about that. This is asking about what was in the text at the beginning. It's right here. The elevation of a location describes its height above or below sea level, which has elevation 0. That's the answer to this question right here. Which point in the number line? What point on the number line represents sea level? It's 0. Question C states, which location is closest to sea level and how do you know? Well, we just decided right here that this is sea level. And if we were forced to choose a positive number, then we could count out to A, that's closest. But it doesn't say if it has to be positive or negative. You can clearly see that E is closest to sea level. It's only 3 spots away. So I'm going to say E. It says which location. I could call it E, but it'd be better to actually call it Juniper Trail. And it says, how do you know? And this is kind of like when a question asks you to explain. You really have to do that. So there's 2 questions there. I answered the first one, which location is closest to sea level. Now it's, how do you know? Well, I would say something like it's only 3 spaces from 0. I would say something like that. All right, so I need to go ahead and move my deal up here so I can see the rest of the page. I'm on question D now. I've got D and E, and then that'll end the page. Question D states, which 2 locations are the same distance from sea level, and are these locations above or below sea level? Well, I erased my stuff here, but in order for them to be the same distance from sea level, I'll just kind of cut to the answer. So at positive 5 was A, and that's Little Butte. And at negative 5 was B, and that's Cradle Creek. And the question says, which ones are the same distance from sea level? Well, how far is A from sea level? Well, if I go to sea level and I count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 spaces. And then if I go to sea level and I count back the other way, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So I'm going to go back and answer the question. D says, which two locations are the same distance from sea level? Well, it's Little Butte and the other one's going to be Cradle Creek. But watch how I can answer this. There's a second question there, and it says, are these locations above or below sea level? Well, Little Butte's a positive number, so that's going to be above sea level. And there's a second answer here. What's the same distance from sea level as Little Butte? Well, it's going to be Cradle Creek because it's also 5 spaces from 0. And that one's going to be below sea level. And last, which location has the least elevation and how do you know? Well, in order to answer this question, you have to know what this word least means. Least is the same thing as lowest. And when I had all of them graphed, the lowest one is the farthest to the left. -9 is the least number, so it's going to be Dinosaur Valley. And there's a second question. It says, how do you know? And I like the term farthest left. This might be the first time you've heard this. But we're going to refer to greater numbers as being to the farthest to the right, and we're going to refer to the least numbers as being farthest left on the number line. I'm just going to write the number symbol. And I do apologize if this is a little bit messy. It's kind of hard to write using a stylus on a computer screen like this. But I did my best. So the answer to E, Dinosaur Valley, because it is farthest left on the number line.